Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, everybody? This is Joseph Conlon coming to you tonight with your AEW Dynamite review on Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. I was actually very scared that I would not get this review up tonight, as there were severe thunderstorm warnings in my area where I live, and there was 80% chance of thunderstorms around 8 o'clock. So I was like, oh shit. I think electricity might go out, and I might not be doing a Dynamite review tonight. Lucky enough, the electricity did not go out. It wasn't as bad as expected, and I'm glad the electricity didn't go out because this was another really damn good episode of Dynamite. I feel like every week, watching these shows from 8 to 10 on TNT, that week by week, they get better and better and better and better. And with Fyter Fest coming up, it was announced tonight that Fyter Fest is going to be a 2-week event. The first night will be Wednesday, July 1st, and the second night will be Wednesday, July 8th, with all championships being on the line. The matches we know are Brian Cage versus Jon Moxley, and the Best Friends versus Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page for the Tag Team Championships. So, I love that idea. I agree with the idea. It kind of reminds me of when back in January they did Bash at the Beach 1 week, and then they did the Chris Jericho Cruise the other week. It kind of reminds me of that. So I really like it. And I like when AEW goes out and does this, because they have 4 pay-per-views a year. Right now, they have a huge gap from Double or Nothing to All Out. So they don't feel like, we're just doing these shows for nothing and all that stuff. We got Fyter Fest right in the middle of it. So I really like that they're going out and doing a special event on TNT for two weeks before the All Out pay-per-view. It's going to be July 1st and July 8th. But I want to get into tonight's show, man, since it was a really good show once again. I want to get into it. But before we get into tonight's show, make sure you guys go check out my recent videos. Check out my Monday Night Raw review on Monday, and very important video yesterday. Very, very important video, as I addressed the Vex Eddie Mullins. He's also on the Big Fight Field channel, and I will be going one-on-one with him on Saturday, June 13th, in a Backyard Brawl. And if you guys did not see my promo about that match, now would be a very good time. After this review, of course. Just go check that out if you haven't already. Let's start up. AEW actually opened up the show with a quote about Black Lives Matter, saying, "We care about your opinion, you matter, everybody matters," and then hashtag Black Lives Matter, with everything going on in the world right now. Very class act thing for AEW to do. You love to see it. AEW literally nails everything with what's happening. But action started off with Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc versus Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page for the AEW Tag Team Championships. I did take notes for this match. We'll go over the notes, and I'll say what I thought about the match. I actually thought I loved this match. I thought this match was fantastic. So, Omega and Havoc start the match with a collar and elbow. Omega hits a chop on Havoc. Havoc then hits a right elbow strike at Kenny Omega. Havoc puts in a headlock on Omega, then Havoc tags in Kip Sabian. Havoc then gets back in and hits and is twisting Omega's fingers very weirdly. So then Hangman then hits a big boot, and the wrestlers start to cheer. Camera pans to FTR. Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler sitting in the crowd without the wrestlers. So sitting in the seating, watching the match as I hear thunderstorms going off now. It fits so perfectly. FTR already fits so perfectly into AEW. It's unbelievable. Hangman and Omega then trade a set of chops to Jimmy Havoc. Penelope Ford then goes for a Hurricane Rana on Hangman Page. Hangman Page then is like, I don't know what to do. So Hangman drops Penelope Ford. And then Penelope Ford gets thrown out of the match by referee Rick Knox. Havoc then hits a ring wrench on Omega and Page while Knox is distracted and trying to take out Penelope Ford from ringside. Sabian stomps down on Hangman Page, then drop kicks Hangman Page to the outside. Hangman is then going at it with Jimmy Havoc until they both make the tag to Omega and Kip Sabian. Sabian hits a pump kick to Omega. Omega then hits a Hurricane Rana on both Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian. Omega hits a beautiful backstabber to Kip Sabian. Then goes over the top and... Oh wait, hold on, where am I? Oh. Beautiful Hurricane Rana, a backstabber. I'm all over the place, folks. Both Omega and Hangman hit a series of moves to Sabian for a kickout. Hangman hits a fallaway slam on Sabian, then goes over the top rope and crashes with Havoc. Sabian hits a swinging DDT to Kenny Omega, while Havoc throws Hangman to the guardrail. Havoc hits his DDT to Omega, and Page breaks it up. Sabian later on hits a nice Poison Rana to Omega, then tags in Jimmy Havoc. Omega hits a Snapdragon to Havoc, and a V-Trigger to Kip Sabian. Omega hits a powerbomb to Sabian. Omega and Page hit Buckshot V-Trigger to Jimmy Havoc, and Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page retain the AEW Tag Team Championships. I love this match. I thought this was the best match of the night. This is tag team wrestling. Right here, this is tag team wrestling. These two tag teams put on a great match for the AEW Tag Team Championships, which haven't been defended since Revolution. So it's very nice to see the tag team titles up for grabs in this match. It's nice to see Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega back on Dynamite as a tag team. And I thought this was both Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian's best match in AEW so far. This was great. It gets Omega and Hangman Page back on track. And we will see Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page versus the best friends for the Tag Team Championships at Fyter Fest. So that should be a treat to watch. I can't wait for that. This was a great match. We then seen The Machine, Brian Cage, literally destroy Shawn Dean in about 2 minutes. Taz then grabs a microphone and he said this week he was talking to Cage and he was talking about last week's Dynamite to him. And last week Jon Moxley was up on the commentary table, and while I was speaking he was giggling, and this week he's not here, and he basically said the same thing to Moxley, said the same thing about Moxley, that Cage is going to take the AEW World Championship from him, blah, blah, blah. Beat him if you can. Survive if he lets you. Then Moxley comes out and he says, I respect Brian Cage. Me having to go through the machine, Brian Cage, is what I love. And I will do anything to hold on to this prestigious championship, and you will not take it away from me. And then then Taz says, that's great that you're happy about stepping in the ring with Brian Cage, but Brian Cage is a different man, Mox. And then Moxley says, I am a different man as well, and walks out. Great stuff between Taz and Jon Moxley. The promos have been really, really great in the past 2 weeks. And this match between Brian Cage and Jon Moxley at Fyter Fest is going to be a physical one. It's going to be very, very physical. And I'm here for it, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for this match. We then saw 2 vignettes in a row. First one was with Lance Archer. He was beating up some loser, and Lance Archer was like, everybody thinks I'm done after I lost to Cody for the TNT Championship. One loss is not going to hurt me, and everybody on the AEW roster is going to know that everybody dies. So, there you go. The people still complaining that Lance Archer is buried after he lost to Cody at Double or Nothing. You are a complete idiot. This man is fine. He's going to go on an undefeated streak for a while, I'm telling you. But then we saw Private Party at the bar, and Mark Quinn was talking about his knee injury last week, and now he's okay, and he's well. And then Matt Hardy comes in. Matt Hardy was like, Private Party. Our match last week was really, really fun. I had really a great time wrestling you guys, and I know how much you looked up to myself and my brother when you guys were little kids. So, and you guys are the future. You guys are the future of the AEW Tag Team Division. So if you need anything, if you need any advice from me, just talk to me. And then they got a trios name for themselves called Hardy Party. So, I mean, that's a little cheesy for my liking, but I like that Matt Hardy is in alliance with Private Party. He's getting Private Party over. I feel like this is going to help Private Party a lot. It's going to get them more popularity. And Matt Hardy is right. These two guys are the future of the AEW Tag Team Division. They are a lot of fun to watch. They really are. And we'll talk about Mark Quinn later on before we get to the TNT Championship match with Jungle Boy and Cody. But we got Colt Cabana versus Chris Jericho to talk about first. And I did take notes about this one, so let's get to it. Sammy G is singing to Judas, and he acts like he's singing so off the beat. Terrible singing by Sammy, but I mean, it was really funny. It was funny to watch. So Jericho was laughing, Sammy was laughing. Not Sammy, but I think commentary was laughing at this, but that's that. Cabana gives Jericho a few forearms. Jericho is then punching Cabana and mocking Mike Tyson while doing it at the same time. Cabana does a moonsault onto Jericho and Jake Hager on the outside. Cabana slams Jericho's head to the ringside table. Jake Hager then smashes Cabana's head to the top turnbuckle with the referee not looking. Jericho is punching Cabana and mocking Tyson at the same time, then gives Cabana a running back elbow, not the Judas effect. Cabana reverses a bulldog from Chris Jericho. Both guys are giving each other blows, stiff forearms from each guy. Cabana hits a flying apple, they called it, to Jericho, and Jericho kicks out. Jericho misses a line salt. Jericho then puts Colt Cabana in the walls of Jericho. Cabana then hits a head scissors on Jericho into a Frankensteiner for a kickout. Cabana then walks right into a Judas effect, and Chris Jericho wins the match. A decent match right here. Not bad between Jericho and Cabana. It was mostly about after the match, but This was Colt Cabana's best match in AEW so far, no question. Jericho got him to a really good match. And then Jericho got on the microphone and said, last week when Jericho got into a brawl with Mike Tyson, it was the most talked about thing in sports for the entire week or something like that. And then he called out Mike Tyson. He said he's not going to wait next week, the week after, the next month, the next pay-per-view. Chris Jericho wants Mike Tyson right now. He wants the baddest man on the planet to come out. And who comes out? Freshly squeezed. Orange Cassidy comes out to interrupt Chris Jericho and Hager and Guevara and all those guys. So, Orange Cassidy, it's funny how Chris Jericho said he's calling out the baddest man on the planet, and Orange Cassidy comes out. So, I guess Orange Cassidy is the baddest man on the planet, huh? I got that in my head. Cassidy then saw Jericho's belt, and he put Jericho's hands between his belt, acting like Jericho put his hands in his pockets. Then Jake Hager was going to attack Cassidy. Cassidy gave Jericho a drop kick, and he rolled out the ring, and their best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent, lifted Cassidy over the guardrail with them on the outside. So good stuff. It looks like we're seeing Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy at Fyter Fest, whenever night one or week one or week two, I should say it. But sign me up. Sign me up for that match, man. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. That match should be awesome. It's going to be comedy gold, and Orange Cassidy, I think, will win that match. It's early, but I think Cassidy is going to win the match. We then saw Big Swole versus Nyla Rose. Very nice to see Big Swole back in the women's division, by the way. She brings intensity. She's very charismatic. She's very good. There was a little sloppy spots in the match, but, I mean, besides that, this match was pretty good. Nothing all too special. And Nyla Rose got the win with the set-out powerbomb unexpectedly. Expectedly, my apologies. Nyla Rose beats Big Swole here tonight in a decent match. Tony Schiavone then is interviewing Big Swole, and she says, even though I lost tonight, it feels really good to be back here in the AEW ring, back in the women's division, and I'm going to keep climbing my way up in the women's division to the top. And then we see Britt Baker in the crowd throughout the whole night with a Royce mobile or something. No, something Royce. I don't remember what it is, but it's like she's sitting on top of a big throne with a wheelchair, and she tells whoever to push her Royce to the barricade to get up to Swole's face. Then Swole grabs a chair and she says, back it up. And I like that even with Britt Baker being injured, they're still having her involved on Dynamite on a weekly basis. And the heel turn for Britt Baker, it's changed her entire career, I feel like, in AEW. She is still, while with a knee injury, she is still killing it. That's unbelievable. And whenever she gets back, I could see her going for Big Swole. We then saw a sit-down interview with FTR and Tony Schiavone, FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler in the Jaguars facility, I think. This was awesome. We see FTR with Tony Schiavone. They're like, last week what we did was business. We would love to face a lot of great tag teams. We respect tag teams. We respect the Butcher and the Blade, but we had to do business. last week. We want to face tag teams like Private Party, the Lucha Brothers, who have a different style than we do. We want to teach them the rules of tag team wrestling. So they mentioned Private Party, the Lucha Brothers, Santana and Ortiz. I think they mentioned the Best Friends. And then they mentioned the AEW Tag Team Champions, Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page, which is their ultimate goal to get to. And then Tony Schiavone says, that is a great list, but you did not mention the Young Bucks. And I was like, yeah, they didn't mention the Young Bucks. And FTR was like, the Young Bucks are not a dream match to us. We've known for years that we're the better team than the Young Bucks, and we really don't have to prove it. For a year and a half, we've been saying we're the best tag team in the world, and your commentary team like JR and you and Excalibur and Taz are saying the Young Bucks are the best tag team in the world, and we're tired of hearing that the Young Bucks are the best tag team in the world, and they're the tag team of the year, tag team of the decade. Dave Meltzer awarded them the tag team of the year. So Dave Meltzer even got on Dynamite tonight with FTR. And they said, we really don't feel like we have to face the Young Bucks. And then from a lobby upstairs come the Butcher and the Blade. And they're yelling and they're like trying to attack FTR. And we see these random dudes separating the Butcher and the Blade, and the FTR are like, this isn't personal, it's clearly personal to do for you. And he said, let's settle this like men in the ring. We'll see you next week. FTR out. So next week, folks, next week, we are seeing FTR versus the Butcher and the Blade with FTR's debut on Dynamite. That is going to be a whole lot of fun. And I'm here for it. Speaking of next week's card is as follows. We got the Best Friends in Orange Cassidy versus Santana Ortiz and Jake Hager. The Butcher and the Blade versus FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood. I'm definitely keeping my eye open for that. That's going to be awesome. Really awesome. Colt Cabana versus Sammy Guevara. I don't know how Sammy's going to wrestle because he's on a friggin' Momobile. So I guess he'll be coming out like a crippled man, I guess. And then they announced, I liked the match, but I did not like the way they did it. They announced that the winner of the Jungle Boy Cody match would face Mark Quinn next week on Dynamite. And it kind of takes away the surprise factor of the TNT Championship Open Challenge. John Cena's Open Challenge was special because we did not know who was going to come out and accept John Cena's challenge. It could have been literally anybody in the WWE. And if AEW is going to do it like this, with announcing talent on who's going to face Cody for the TNT Championship the next couple weeks, it takes away the surprise factor of it, and I don't like it. Like if Cody stood out in the ring last week and said the TNT Championship Open Challenge is now open. If you want a shot, come get it. And Mark Quinn came out. I would have been totally fine with that, but they announced Mark Quinn for next week, and I did not like that. It takes away the surprise factor of the TNT Championship Open Challenge. But this was the first of the TNT Championship Open Challenge with the challenger Jungle Boy and the champion Cody, and they did not disappoint, man. They did not disappoint on this episode of Dynamite. So it was announced that the winner of this will face Mark Quinn of Private Party next week for the TNT Championship. Jungle Boy and Cody start the match with a collar and elbow. Jungle Boy then hits a head scissors to Cody for a 2 count. Cody then laying chops to Jungle Boy. Cody then catches Jungle Boy for a big power slam. Very impressive. Cody then stomps to the knee of Jungle Boy, working on the knee. Cody locks in figure 4. Jungle Boy jumps off the second rope for a swinging DDT for a kick out. And then we go to commercial break. Cody then throws Jungle Boy over the guardrail into Billy and Austin Gunn. On the outside, this was the key part of the match. On the outside, Cody accidentally, Jungle Boy is laying on the wall, and Cody accidentally headbutted his head to the wall, and Jungle Boy ducked. Jungle Boy then gets into the face of MJF, with MJF saying, "You don't deserve this match. You got lucky last week in the Battle Royal. You're a piece of shit. Do you really think that you deserve this match over me while I'm undefeated in AEW?" And then we see a camera shot of Cody just busted wide open from being headbutted into the wall. So, Jungle Boy hits a drop kick and Cody kicks out. Jungle Boy hits a big clothesline to Cody for a 2 count. Jungle Boy then punching the bleeding head of Cody. Cody hits a vertical suplex to Jungle Boy off the top rope for a kick out. Cody and Jungle Boy fall through a table on the outside while they're giving each other right hands. So Jungle Boy falls with Cody through the table, and then back in the ring, Cody hits a crossroads to Jungle Boy and retains the TNT Championship. Afterwards, Brandy, Arn Anderson, Dustin Rhodes come out to help Cody, and then Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt come out to help Jungle Boy. Cody helps Jungle Boy up, gives him a hug, and he raises Jungle Boy's hand even though Jungle Boy lost. And that's the way Dynamite went off the air. Great TNT Championship match. Really great. This made Jungle Boy look like $1 million. And he had a great match with Jericho. Lasted 10 minutes with him. A great match with MJF at Double or Nothing. And then he had a great match for the TNT Championship with Cody here tonight. If this is the bar, Jungle Boy and Cody have set the bar for the TNT Championship Tournament Open Challenge. If we're getting matches like this every single week for the TNT Championship, this thing is going to be a huge success. Just don't announce the participants the week before. I don't like that. But if you get that out of the way and you have matches like this thing is going to be a huge success. Not only for the TNT Championship, but for AEW as a whole. And that's your AEW Dynamite review tonight, man. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you haven't already, subscribe right here on the Big Fight Field channel. I actually gained 3 subscribers today. We're at 91 subscribers. So if you're new here to the channel, welcome. Let's get to 100 subscribers before the match on June 13th with Eddie Mullins. Comment down below what you thought of tonight's episode of Dynamite. I thought this was a really good episode coming off of last week's show, and I thought all the matches were really damn good tonight as well. Hit the like button if you enjoyed tonight's episode of Dynamite. Follow me on Twitter at Colin_Joseph and Instagram as well. And follow Eddie on Twitter at EddieMullins515. I'm going to go watch some NXT. And I'll be back here tomorrow on the Big Fight Field channel for your NXT review. The last episode before NXT TakeOver in your house this Sunday. Have a good night. Stay safe.